Oh, really? Oh, well.
Was that
See, it used to not give me as much problems because, you know. Anyways, we're converting standard to slope-intercept form and converting slope-intercept to standard form. And we're just going to review a couple of pieces to this. And we're going to start with this one right here, which is standard. We're converting standard to slope-intercept. So we have x plus y is equal to -7. And I'm just going to do one of each of these. Remember, in standard form, what must an equation look like to be in standard form? Does anybody remember? What? All right, so all integers, right? Right? All of them have to be integers. The x coefficient must be what? Positive, correct. Positive. And x and y are on the right. So we've got this, this, and this. And your constant is on the left. And we all know what slope-intercept form looks like, right? Do I have to go over that? I mean, between 8th grade and now algebra, you guys should be very, very comfortable with slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form has your y value on the left. It has to be positive. It doesn't matter. You can have fractions. You can have whatever. But y is by itself, and it has to be positive. So let's see here. Slope, I'll just do it just for the heck of it. Intercept form. You have to have a positive y equals mx plus b, right? Okay. All right, so we've got to get this to positive y equals mx plus b. I'm going to put my 1 and my 1 here. Y is positive, so all I'm going to do is subtract 1x, subtract 1x. And I've got y is equal to negative x minus 7. Am I in slope-intercept form? Yes or no? Yes. And I can have the 1 there. There's no problem with having that there, but make sure you don't combine that and that. So my answer would be y is equal to negative x minus 7. Okay? Or negative 1x minus 7. Either way, I'm going to live with it. Okay? All right, so let's see. I guess I could write standard plus ax. Well, you know what? But then you guys always get, and it can be plus or minus by is equal to plus or minus c, right? Because all those can be plus or minus. It's only the coefficient of x that has to be positive, okay? That's standard form. All right, so let's go down here, and I'll do number 1 down here. Okay, so number 1 says y is equal to 6/11 x minus 12/11. Okay, so I need it in standard form. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring my what? I'm going to bring my x over to the left. So I'm going to subtract 6/11x. Some of you have problems when you have whole numbers and fractions. I do not know because I would be using my calculator, but if not, I saw some things like when you subtracted 4, subtract, I don't know what it was. It was 5/3 or 2/3 or something, or it was adding 2/3. Remember that 4 has to be turned into thirds if you're going to do it by hand. And it didn't look very pretty when you got the results. So that might have been some of the problems in that last paper there. Let's see. So I'm getting off subject. 6/11x. So I've got negative 6/11x plus 1y. And I would go ahead and write your 1y just to remind you. Is equal to a negative 12/11. How am I going to turn that 6/11 in to a integer? What?
Multiply by negative 11.
Negative 11 over 1, correct. Because that, since these two have a common denominator, I'm just going to multiply by the common denominator, and I'm the reciprocal of the common denominator. And a negative 11 and a negative 11 are going to cancel each other out. 6 over 1 gives me 6x. I have to do here a negative 11 over 1, which gives me a negative 11y is equal to, do this by a negative 11 over 1, and that cancels that and that, so I get 12. So they are all integers. My coefficient of x is positive, and I'm trying to see if you have unlike. Let's do number 3, or it's number 7. What one do you want to do? Okay, we'll do number 7. Okay, remember, if you have unlike denominators, the first thing, in order to get these to integers, you've got to create like denominators. Does that make sense to y'all? Okay, so number 7, we've got y is equal to 4x minus 4/3. The first thing I'm going to do is bring my 4x over, so subtract 4x from both sides. I get negative 4x plus 1y is equal to negative 4/3. All right. So this one's really easy, actually, because what do I have as denominators? 1 and 3, right? Correct? What I really meant when it's more difficult is number 3. You have 6 and 12. Okay? So that's a little more difficult. When you have nothing in common, it even makes it harder. So here, all I'm going to do is multiply by what? Negative 3 over 1, because this is negative, okay? I want to get a positive answer out of this, don't I, for my x? Now, if I had done it by a positive 3, then it would just give me, a negative, and then I'd have to turn around and do it by a negative 1 and change all my signs. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, but it's easier to do a negative 3 over 1, negative 3 over 1, negative 3 over 1, and I get negative 3 times negative 4 gives me 12x, negative 3 times 1 gives me minus 3y is equal to, these cancel each other out, and so 4 over 1 gives me 4, and I'm done. So that's easier than 3. What are you going to multiply 3 by? Just as a hint.
You're going to multiply x by 2.
What?
You're going to multiply negative 1.
Well, why not just do it by 12? Won't 6 go into 12 and you get a positive 2? If you're simplifying there, in other words, negative 1, 6, when you bring it across, you're going to end up with 1, 6x, right? If you multiply that by 12 over 1, since they have it in common, then 6 goes into itself once, 6 goes into 12 2 times. 2 times 1 is 1, or 2, right? So you're going to end up with a 2x. Does that make sense to you? Everybody see that or not see that? You need to speak up if you don't, okay? What makes it more difficult is when you have like, and these are pretty easy, but if you had something like y is equal to 3/5 x plus, let's see, 4 over 7. What would you do then? The least common multiple. The least common multiple. Okay. Which would be 35 over 1. You'd have to multiply both those fractions by 35 over 1 to get them to be integers. And as long as you did 35 over 1, you'd be okay, because then that would do 35 times y, right? Okay, all right. But that you don't have anything on this paper that difficult, all right? So I just wanted to throw that out there. Just, every once in a while, you guys need to be challenged because most of you are not challenged on a daily basis. Right? Yes, you are. Is this class challenging at all?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Nah.
Except for regular math. Very, very easy.
It is.
Well, 8th grade.
It makes it seem easier. Like, it makes 8th grade math seem easier. Like, had we not taken this class, I don't think it would have been as easy.
Because
For
we
some
learned
reason.
y equals mx plus b and all that before that we actually
So, like,
started.
we've learned everything that.
Like we're basically
Miss
relearning.
Moon's still telling me to write all my the equations and stuff down. I'm like, but I already know how to do that. I don't want to write y equals mx
She
plus
actually
b on
makes me
every
feel my
single
way.
problem. Yeah, I know. I'm doing it.
What?
Miss Moon, she used to tell me to write down my y equals mx plus b, but now she doesn't tell me to.
She does it like
I
on
guess
every
she figured out that I
problem.
can do it now.
But it's like that's what we're doing in here. So
That's
we
like
got
we-
used to that.
Yeah, well, she doesn't know what you've done in here, what you haven't done in here, okay? So,
At first,
mean,
she started out.
but, if you're getting them wrong and you weren't writing it down, then I smack you upside the head and make you write it down. But as long as you're getting it right, I'm okay. But,
I want to work that.
I got a 9.
you want to work that problem?
Yeah.
Right, we're coming over.
We're working on the right.
He wants to work it. That one's easy. I can make it more
So this
challenging.
is our homework.
You want more
Miss
challenging
Boyd.
than that?
This is our homework.
Yeah.
I guess I could
You can
try.
start.
Yeah, give me that
All right,
problem.
Here's that one, and let me give you another challenge problem. Let's do let's do 3/8 y is equal to
Hey, why ask me
2
about self? Set a form. That's what it says.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Because
no.
if it was in slope-intercept form, that's true, but it's not in slope-intercept form. I'm just making it as challenging as I possibly can. 2 6x plus let's do 6/3.
6/3.
There you go.
That's tough.
So, first, aren't you going to find your common denominator?
I would bring my x over first.
So,
It's easy.
It
It's not
is.
that. It's not that hard.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I found the others. I found the others.
Sweet.
and then back.
I should have done not 6/3 because you could have turned that into a 2 and made it a whole number. So I should have made it 5/3.
Ah, like you.
There you go, 5/3.
Okay, so I gotta find a common denominator.
Least common multiple.
Yeah.
Least common multiple.
6. What's the 12, 18, 20?
No, it's 24.
Hey, but you want that x to be positive, right? Ah, yeah. Yes, sir. You don't have a pen in your hand, do you? I don't care. Pen. Ah! What do you got?
Calculator.
Mm-hmm. Well, what?
We need.
With the word, you subtract.
What do you mean?
To the end, you get to
Right here.
Do you have a negative b or a positive b? Did you find out that your b was positive or negative?
when I did 5 is equal to 8 plus b, you divide by 5.
Okay,
Those are
hold on here. What do you got? 8. What are you doing here?
This is
Okay, so it's the same slope, right? Alright, so then it's times -3. So that cancels each other out and about 8, right? Plus 6 is
Or
equal
b.
to
It's
5.
supposed to be b.
It's a b, okay. So then you subtract 8 from both sides,
That's where I messed up. I
and you get negative 3 is equal to B.
So I need to go back and fix that. I messed up on that part. I divided it.
Why?
I don't
You
know.
don't have anything to divide. It's not next to a variable.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't know either.
I probably wasn't thinking.
Come on, it can't take this long, Brandon.
This calculator stuff.
What do you mean? You should be able to do that in your head.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Lord have mercy. Come on.
You know I check my work.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
3 goes into 24 8 times. See, you could have done it this way. 3 goes into 24 8 times. Negative 8 times 5 is negative 40.
Yeah, I got it right.
Alright? Why? What's this?
Yeah,
It's a
Okay, which one you on?
that looked like a 0.
But you have a negative. Okay, so that's an 8x. Alright.
Uh-huh.
And this 3 goes into 24.
I'm on guess
how
what
many
name
times?
is for bullying.
Or 8 goes into 24 3 times, and that's a negative, so negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Yeah. See, it's not hard.
calculator's easy.
I got one. Thought it would be hard. I'd set it up to be hard.
There you go.
I get that where the denominators are super uncommon.
Okay. That's gonna be like up in the hundreds.
You'll get those. It's alright, go start your work. Because you owe me so much work, you need to get caught up. Before that mother sees that grade of yours. Then they start saying,
I'm gonna kick you out the house.
they're gonna make you sleep outside.
She might.
She might.
It ain't that cold yet.
Would be the first time.
A nice sleeping bag. As long as you got a sleeping
Do you
bag.
want the calculator back, or are you gonna get any work done? You've got like 10 minutes.
I'm getting bored, dude.